Happy Monday and welcome to a new episode of Transforming Your Life Through Storytelling. The following story aired in the show is a miracle and is an inspiring story that shows us that love is so powerful to the point of sometimes transcending even death. I hope you enjoyed the story as much as I did. It all happened in 1973. Chris Henry, a young woman living in St. Petersburg, Florida, had a dream, a vision of a mysterious red-haired woman sitting at an organ in a church. And in the dream, the woman would tell Chris, I want you to place an ad, and it needs to say ... and Chris would wake up. Although the words of the woman didn't make any sense to Chris, she felt compelled to write them on a piece of paper so that she wouldn't forget them. The next day, Chris' friend came over and saw the note on her night table and asked Chris what it was all about. Chris related the dream to her friend on how she would see this red-haired lady playing, sitting and playing at an organ. Now, you have to remember that this story happened before the online world we live in, and personal ads where how people found love. Before dating apps, personal ads contain hundreds of people, of lonely people looking for love. And among them, there will be one containing a miracle. When Chris wasn't looking, her friend Doris took matters into her own hands and sent the paper into the local classifieds. A few days later, the persistent figure returned to Chris's dream, but this time, the message was even more specific, and she told her,
respond only to the typewritten letter.
The next day, Chris told her friend about the second encounter. Guess what? She said, I had another dream with the pretty lady sitting at the organ, telling me to only answer to the typewritten letter. Doris started laughing and confessed that she had sent the ad into publication. 2 weeks later, a large envelope with over 65 responses to the personal ad came in the mail. To Chris's amazement, only one was a typewritten letter. It was from Jim Kelly. Now, when Jim met Chris, he confessed that he first wrote it by hand but later typed it because he felt it would be more professional and that his letter will stand out. I guess in those days it was not customary to type letters from ads. But imagine just for a second to have to place an ad on the newspaper for love and then to wait for letters to arrive in the mail. It just seems so foreign to me. But that's how it was back in the day. Today, we have thousands of people online looking for love, and you can access them instantly. But let's go back to the story. After several telephone conversations, Chris and Jim made a date to go dancing. When Jim first met Chris, he was pleased to see how beautiful she was and felt no need to go on further dates. Chris felt equally smitten by Jim. They felt an immediate connection that they couldn't understand. Everything felt so good. Things just clicked. And as time passed, Chris and Jim fell madly in love, and they were married 3 years later. But the newlywed couple had no idea that a sequence of miraculous events had brought them together. While visiting Jim's mother, Chris was looking through a family album when she noticed the photograph of a woman that took her breath away. There she was, the woman that Chris had seen repeatedly in her dreams. She started to yell for Jim and told her, that's her, that's the woman that told me what to say on the ad. She then saw another picture of the same woman next to Jim. So Chris asked him who she was. Jim got all emotional and shared with Chris, that's my wife who died of cancer. Unknown to Chris, Jim's first wife, Georgia, had lost a difficult battle to cancer. And I guess Jim had been silently mourning her loss. When Chris mentioned to Jim that she would see Georgia sitting at an organ was the only confirmation that Jim needed to believe the strange event. Georgia played the organ in the church that they belonged. Both Jim and Chris were convinced that her dreams were a message and a proof that miracles do happen. Georgia's dying wish was for Jim to continue living and to find love again. So somehow Georgia knew from beyond that Chris would be a good wife to Jim. I love that story because it shows us that love can be so strong as to defy time, space, and even death. And it also illustrates that love doesn't die. It continues, it goes beyond the grave. And imagine what it would be like to be handpicked by Spirit. For Chris, it didn't get any better than that. Now it is up to you to decide whether this was a coincidental dream or a message from a woman who loved her husband so much that kept looking after him even after her death. I will see you on the next episode. Until then, stay safe, stay grateful, and remember to subscribe and help my channel grow. See you then.